Good afternoon. My name is Miguel Stawi, and I'm the Dean of Libraries at Florida Tech. It has been a pleasure to have this event and to arrange for it. And we pride ourselves on being the custodian of the link collection. And we are really pleased to see many of you who are interested in the Link Foundation and Edwin Link and his family. And it's a great pleasure to have you all here. The person who behind the arrangement for this event is Kathy Turner, and I'd like to turn the microphone to Kathy so she can introduce our speakers. Thank you.
I'm just absolutely delighted that you all are here. I can't tell you. Oh, I can. I'm very delighted. So, about those links. About Edwin Link. As you all know, Ed Link was a pioneer, an inventor, and a visionary. I'm not sure if any one of those three outweighs the other. But he lent his unique tenacity, perspective, and knowledge to the aviation industry and the oceanographic industry. In the Edwin A. Link multimedia room, in a bit, you will have the opportunity to learn about Link, the Quiet Genius, by way of an 18-minute version of a film that was released in 2001. About Marion Clayton Link. Marion Link, as many of you know, was a journalist and quite the adventurer, who in 1997 generously endowed the Evans Library's Library Information Network, the LINK, to advance the research of every faculty member and student. Starred, and I mean that, over by the service desk, you will see a plaque that has a star beside it. Starred there at the service desk is a plaque documenting the history and the impact of Marion Link's contribution to the future of Florida Institute of Technology. Now, about Maryland Link. Yes, I shall be writing a poem. Marion Link, as you know, is a true leader and an inspiration. I'm going to ask Marilyn just to stand up for 10 seconds so you all can see that she's here. Maryland Link is not only a connector, and if you've read The Tipping Point, you know that in the dictionary now, besides connector, it should have a picture of Maryland Link, a philanthropist and an instigator, and I mean that in the nicest way. Today we have people from Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, from Florida Atlantic University, and from L3, I believe. A little later, you'll have an opportunity to listen to Marilyn tell about the special collection between Edwin Link and Florida Institute of Technology. About the Link Foundation. From its founding in the 1950s, the Link Foundation has just flat supported education and continues to support education. In a few moments also, you will hear about the legacy and the impact of that. So you will hear from Marilyn herself in a bit. After that, Diane Newman, who is our Special Collections Curator, who oversees the Edwin A. and Marion C. Link Special Collection, will share a few remarks. Diane, would you stand just a moment so I don't see who you are? There we go. You all need to know that it was Diane's creative genius and her attention to how pleased we are to be a steward of this special collection that resulted in that exhibit over there. Can you tell? Edwin A. Link exhibit over there. Okay. Following Diane, Dr. Donna Wilt and Dr. Andrew Clark, by way of Media Magic, will speak to us about the Link Foundation. After we are done here on the first floor, we will all go together to the second floor to, guess what? Our Edwin A. Link multimedia room, where you all will see an exhibit and you'll be able to hear about some of the multimedia presentations I've spoken about. And then right after that, you will have an opportunity to go with Dr. George Mall over to the Edwin A. Link building, and have a tour of the building and the research and the legacy that is there as well. I would like to acknowledge publicly Dr. Michael Grace, who is Associate Dean for our College of Science, who put together, and his son River, who put together the link canoe, which is in the lobby. So now, yes, let's thank Michael Grace. So now we're going to hear from Marilyn Link herself.
I tried to talk Kathy out of doing this event without success. And I said, you need to ask Dr. Andy Clark and Dr. Donna Wilt, members of our Link Foundation board, to do the speaking. And Kathy said, well, I'll be glad to do that. I said, there are experts and they know all about the foundation. And she said to me, well, can't you at least be polite and welcome everybody? So I said, oh, you mean I'm supposed to be there? Yes, she said. So I am here with my red shirt that you see in the picture out there. This is also FIT color. And I'm pleased Dwayne McKay is here. Where are you, Dwayne?
Stay back here.
Dr. McKay is going to be the next great president of FIT beginning next June or July 1st at the latest. So be sure to be nice to him today. But I want to thank you all for coming. Some of you, like Sherry Plymel from Jupiter and from FAU Foundation and Harbor Branch Foundation, drove a couple hours to get here. So I really seriously thank you for coming. But as Dwayne says, since I have the microphone, I want to compliment and express my gratitude to the FIT library staff for all they've done over the years, and they continue to do under Dr. Wastaway. And they are taking it and digitizing it for use by the public. And they've had a lot of help from, Diane can tell you, from students. And those students have been just great. I brought some L3 pens. L3 Communications is the corporate owner of Link Simulation and Training, and the company is now celebrating their 86th anniversary. However, when I showed the pens to Diane Newman, she said, oh, I'm keeping these for our staff and our students. So anyway, I have one left, and I'll leave it here. I also brought up an L3 golf ball, and it's, even though it's a girl's color, I brought it specially for Will, and Kara's already going to come get that, right, Kara?
That's right.
And I don't know how far it'll go, but I hope it goes as far as L3 has taken the Link company. The other thing I want to have you be sure to pick up are the flyers on the table back there, which shows the long-time association that has existed between FIT, the Smithsonian, and FAU Harbor Branch. And Dr. Mary Rice and Julie Periano of the Smithsonian, raise your hands. They're here today. Mary's not. Mary arrived on site, which is now Harbor Branch, before I did, but I'm older than she is. There are all kinds of information online, and that was in the news release that was generated here. And those flyers back there kind of tell you the history of what is now Harbor Branch and how it got started. And FIT President Jerry Cooper and then Trustee Lieutenant Governor Adams helped Seward and Ed get the various permits and helped Harbor Branch get going. And you will see that FIT was originally on site here, which is now all Harbor Branch. But all of this information is available online. And then in closing, I have a favorite person here. He has a big title like Research Communications and Project Manager. That's Larry Mackey. Raise your hand, Larry. And his wife, Lynn Redding, who devotes a lot of her time to nonprofit organization and is very caring. And Larry said, listen, this is what you should do in your speech today. It's called 3S. Stand up, shut up, and sit down.
I want to welcome everybody today to this very, very exciting event. It's exciting for me. It took me a while to understand how much Ed Link had actually accomplished. It was a slow process. Marilyn would come up with different papers every few months. I would look through some of the boxes. I was very, very busy trying to learn how to digitize everything, get it all online. And this last summer, everything went online. At least 1,500 items went online. And in that process of looking at everything, it was, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And it has been a real adventure for me. But something happened a month ago that really was the capstone on the entire thing. I don't often get phone calls on my office phone. And there was a man who had called me and left a message. He said that his name was Donald Fine and he lived in Maryland. And he and 9 other people had in 1979 purchased the cabin that Ed Link had purchased in 1948 and lived in for many, many years. And he had been doing some research to find out a little bit and saw a blog that I had written for the library and saw a photograph of Ed Link, which I will show you in a couple minutes, with the Link canoe. And so he knew how to contact me and so forth. I just want you to see that there's another bag inside of here, but this is the bag I've been told that held the segments of the Link canoe. Is that actually true here?
As of last week, they put that canoe was in those 2 bags.
Okay, then it's true.
On Saturday,
It's not
on
on the
Sunday.
side of this. So, because I really love quilting, I am planning to take this home and do a little patchwork before it goes back. Anyway, the story that I'm about to tell you also, Marilyn also went to this cabin, also went in the airplane, the Roman, and actually knows how to fly it and did so many years ago. And so this is a story about Ed and Marion, Marilyn, and their boys. So the first thing you need to know, I call it Cabin in the Woods, and inscribed on the cabin wall is the date that the cabin was originally built in 1931. And the Link family's first visit to the cabin was in 1948, when Edling leased the land, told for $3,000, and it was 50 square miles of land from the Canadian government. They wanted him there. What is really amazing is it was the only cabin allowed on the island itself. The story of the cabin in the Canadian woods began with Lincoln, and there's the picture that Donald Fine had seen. And you will see, I don't know if you can see from back there, but behind him is the Grumman airplane, and he's stepping into the Lincoln. Over the years, Don and his 9 partners, they come from Pennsylvania, have brought over 100 people to the cabin. And I'm going to share a lot of the information that Don sent to me, but there is more online, and when we go upstairs, I'll show you how to find it. When Edling brought his family to this remote area of Canada, they first stayed on Windfall Lake. It was called Windigo. And if you would blow this up, it's, I'm going to stand right in front of it, but it's right here. So you can find it. And these maps, this is the exciting part, are in the collection. Everything that I'm using comes from the collection. I found other maps, and they're really remarkable. We were able to use Google and go online and find the same places and so forth. The land Edling leased extended west to the Kalaj River, north to the Miller Lake, east to Pythonga Lake, and south a number of miles. And his was on Crooked Lake, which also was called Forester Lake, and also there's a French name for which I'm afraid I mess up pretty badly. But yeah. Okay, the views of the cabin. Edling bought this cabin, and the family spent many summers there. He added a kitchen storeroom and 2-hole outdoor toilet at the time of purchase. And as best as Don Fine could discern from examining the cabin, the original construction was a simple 2-room log cabin overlooking the lake. This photo corresponds to the back cove behind the cabin that Don and his partners now have as a boat dock. But for a long time, there was no boat dock. I understand they just pulled the plane right up. Noted in, so I get to the next wonderful part of my story, that in 1996, Edling's son, Bill, visited the cabin and wrote in the guest registry. He further got in touch with each other, and in 2004, Bill sent Don a letter and verified that the location where his father landed the twin-engine amphibian Grumman airplane in the lake and then taxied it up the smooth rocks just west of the boat dock that Don and his partners had built. So he verified it. And us archivists, that's the best thing in the world. We start having collaboration about all things. But coming from the horse's mouth, that was really great. And Don commented to me as well that it made sense both through the photograph and the topography of the shoreline, which he said was sheltered from the wind. I'm going to give you a couple views of the cabin. Imagine that you are living here. Imagine you're a kid like Bill and his brother Clayton. You're living there. Every summer you get to go there, and it's absolutely gorgeous place. So the next one. Bill Lake wrote in the guest register that it was a huge custom, and it was made with artist sketches of the lake with little drawings around the edge of things like fishing and hunting. So it just wasn't a book that people wrote in, but it was also a decorated book, which is why it kind of chose the little scrapbook format. And it is full of guests' very short comments about their visit and includes many important people, Bill had said. Bill spent many hours on the island over the years, building a small dock, and eventually, with major help from his father and from the French Canadian guide, Vital Jeté, a suspension bridge from the shore with a trail connecting it to the main camp. So that was quite a bit of work. And the next slide is, that's a little lighter, cold in there. The next is Bill's reflections. Dad felt, and I do, that Crooked Lake was a chance to return to the simple things in life. So he personally built furniture out of the wood around the lake, and as well as the kitchen and the guest cabin. We had wonderful times here, and in a sense, I grew up here. The single most important thing was the total solitude, to be able to completely get away from the cares and problems of modern-day civilization in an environment that was pristine and unpolished by man. I love that word, unpolished. It's so beautiful to me. As camps go, I was pleasantly surprised by the condition of Crooked Lake after 25 years. I hope you will continue to enjoy it as we did for all that time so long ago. This is the actual writing. It's online. The journal entry is online for you to see. And next is the current people who go there. On the left is a man named Owen Davis, who's a friend of Donald Fine. He's a teacher and a musician, and he's just showing him the cabin's front porch, which had been added. And the other is just them enjoying around the campfire. In conclusion, I wanted to use the letter, the email that Don Fine sent to me with all the information. And he wrote, Diane, I suppose I could go on for an entire evening communicating what I have learned about Ed Lake. But rather, I will summarize this letter by noting that myself and other owners feel blessed to have inherited such a wonderful place in the Canadian wilderness that once belonged to a world-renowned Edwin Lake, the only cabin on Forester, Crooked Lake, La Crochette Lake in ZEC, Pontiac, Quebec. Nobody could say it better. I just thought, what a wonderful thing. And this is the essence, just a little tiny slice of all of the work that Ed Link did, but it gives you a connection with the man, his family life. Maybe I picture him with the fishing and the hunting and all of the natural things that they were doing, getting back to the simple life. But I think out of that was the wellspring out of which so many of his amazing ideas came. So my job now is to introduce Dr. Donna Wilk, Associate Professor of College of Aeronautics. In one way or another, when I have her resume, she's been connected to the Link Fellowship. She had a Link Fellowship. She's been connected to the foundation one way or another. First as a fellowship that she received in advanced simulation and training in 1995 for her doctoral research, which used simulators in teaching situation awareness to pilots. And like that, situation awareness. She later, in 2000, received a Link Foundation research grant to research intelligent agents for basic flight training in simulators. Then she served as faculty mentors for students. Our Link scholars awarded the Link Library Grant in the Evans Library. And Marilyn, you are so right about how amazing the students are. They catch the excitement of what is in the collection, and they are willing to do entry after entry, scan after scan, do it perfectly, because they think that they're serving a kind of a greater good and really get imbued with that spirit. And then Donna continued with the Link Foundation. She served on the selection committee for the Link Foundation Fellowship, again, the one that she had received, and now it's 2012, and she's on the selection committee. And then in 2006, she joined the Link Foundation, and she currently serves as a special advisor to the Board of Trustees. So, Donna?
Thank you, Diane, for those kind words. And sounds like I've done a lot, but doesn't seem like I've done much at all. When you're working with Marilyn, you all know it's wonderful work and it all goes very quickly. I'm here today representing the Link Foundation. I'm also really here to represent somebody who has been touched in such a wonderful way by Marilyn. And so I thank you for inviting me to speak. Another member of the Board of Trustees of the Foundation is Andy Clark, and he wasn't able to be here today. He would like to have been, but instead she said we're going to work some virtual magic, and he's made a video. So I'd like you to watch it with me, and then I'll have a few more words about the foundation.
Well, hello everyone. My name's Andrew Clark. I'm a trustee here at Florida Institute of Technology. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you today to celebrate and learn more about this remarkable family, the Links, a family who touched my life some 40 years ago and has been an important part of it ever since. You're going to hear a lot about the exploits of at least 3 Link family members today. Ed Link, of course, and you'll see the Link canoe. Marion Link, who one of the pioneering first women of diving, when diving technology was like a bucket over your head and a hose to the surface, and they would explore shipwrecks and antiquities in the Mediterranean around the sea, and she was the inspiration for many, many women to come in the diving and marine science arena. And of course, Marilyn Link, who I hope is there today with you, since I'm not. Marilyn, many of you probably don't realize that she was the first female pilot to ever receive a commercial pilot's license by solely flying simulators, a pretty remarkable accomplishment. And the family goes on beyond that. I know 2 of Ed's great nephews, one who's now the head of ocean sciences at National Science Foundation, and the other is a brilliant mathematician who's figuring out new ways of handling nuclear waste around the country. You'll see lots of Ed's innovations and inventions and hear more, and don't miss the Link canoe. But I think what I'll tell you about, and I hope others will today, is what I think is the most lasting legacy of all these remarkable Links. And that's something I'm also fortunate to be a part of, and that is the Link Foundation. I'm not only a trustee of FIT, but also the Link Foundation, 2 things that I'm very proud of. The Link Foundation, Ed and Marion set up in 1953, and one very remarkable thing that Ed Link left us with, he was one of a blue ribbon commission that President Kennedy appointed in 1963 to help find a missing nuclear submarine of ours. The submarine was eventually found, and that committee rendered a lot of decisions, or a lot of recommendations rather, to the president. Didn't get a lot of airplay then because of the unfortunate assassination of JFK later that year. But I thought that the most lasting and the most significant recommendation that came from Ed Link was that no committee, not that one or any other, can imagine what sort of tools and techniques and devices this nation would need on hand to respond to any kind of maritime disaster. But what they do need is a formal education program to educate up-and-coming scientists and engineers in the field of ocean engineering. And that's what Ed left us with. And Ed Link's exploits and his early publications and photographs in National Geographic and Popular Science are what attracted me as a very young boy to get interested and involved in ocean technology and working under the sea. My career path really took off when I was awarded a Link Foundation scholarship in the form of a summer internship to work at Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institution. Since then, the Link Foundation has sponsored over 1,000 summer interns, PhD fellows, high school scholars, scholarships at community colleges. So the Link Foundation has been incredibly important in launching many, many careers since 1953 in the ocean sciences and ocean engineering, mine being one of those. I've had a long and important relationship with Marilyn ever since 1979. She's been the stalwart behind the Link Foundation and makes it a point to meet each and every young scientist and engineer who are brought up through that process. So I would like you to be aware of the Link Foundation, the important work we do. One way you can become more aware of it is right here at FIT. FIT, because it is such a stellar university, and especially the Evans Library does such a remarkably good job. We house one of only 2 Link collections here at the FIT Library. The other is at the University of Binghamton in New York. So I would invite you all, you can find it online. There's a link, there's an excellent accessible website portal that you can go and you can bring up old documents, old photographs, and learn that much more. So the Link Foundation, in my estimation, is one of the most important things that these remarkable links have done for us thus far. As I said, there's more links in the pipeline, so stand by. I'm sure you'll learn about much more in the future. Thanks for coming, and I wish I could be there with you. So long.
As Diane said, my first encounter with the Link Foundation was when I received the fellowship for my PhD work. I was here at Florida Tech. I'm doing my PhD in science education. And as she said, since then my involvement has grown in the, largely through the nurturing of Marilyn Lake. I didn't have the opportunity to know Edwin or Marion Lake, but I've learned so much about him, just like Diane. And part of I've learned about him because the foundation endeavors to carry on the research and the interests of Edwin and Marion Lake. This is the part where I'm going to say, I'll tell you what Andy was going to say. Yeah, Andy's going to tell you about the oceanographic, ocean sciences, ocean engineering part of Edwin's interest. The foundation not only promotes that, they also promote education in energy research and conservation, designing and using simulators to train users in complex systems, and also supports general science and technology education for children and high school students. Since its inception, the foundation has established various programs to promote the interest, educating in the interest of Edwin and Marion Lake. And they've given nearly $4 million to education across the country. I think that's just an outstanding one. Oh, I'm sorry, 14. I missed a digit. Order of magnitude, thank you. 14. And it may be over 14 by now. This was last year's numbers, huh? Just over 14 million. As you'll learn, Andy Clark was a summer intern at Harbor Branch. That was just one of the programs that was established by the foundation. I got into the foundation through the fellowships. The foundation also supports research programs at institutions in Indian River County and the Fort Pierce area, not only at Harbor Branch and at the Smithsonian and several other groups down there, and also does science programs up in Binghamton, New York. And there are several other programs in Binghamton, New York that are supported by the foundation. Beyond that, the capstone program of the foundation is the fellowships for PhD students. And there are 3 nationally recognized fellowships. One is in modeling, simulation, and training. One is in energy, and the third one is in ocean instrumentation and engineering. This year, the foundation will give approximately 12 fellowships. Each one is for a value of $28,500 for 1 year. I brought along some brochures about the Modeling, Simulation, and Training Fellowship, and they're on the table. I would please invite you to pick up one to learn more about the fellowship itself and to learn more about the foundation. And if you know a PhD student in this area, please take one for them. I've already given one out to a student who was helping, enjoying the food. He happened to be, said he was a PhD student in system engineering, so we got something for you. I will. My current position is, in addition to being special advisor on the Board of Trustees, is I'm the administrator of the Modeling, Simulation, and Training Fellowship, and that is run through the College of Aeronautics here at FIT. Another person who was instrumental in fellowships over the years is George Maul, who you will be meeting next, and he's taking you on the tour. George is a professor of marine and environmental systems here at Florida Tech. He worked with the Link Foundation to establish the Ocean Instrumentation and Energy Fellowship, and for many years he was the administrator of that fellowship through FIT. And today he'll be taking you over to show you the Lake building, some of the research there, and as Kathy already said, the highlights are Edwin Link's oceanographic work that's on display. So with that, I think we're ready to go somewhere.
Yes. So, thank you, Donna. We keep making references to the table, and there are a number of handouts and so forth on the table. There's also a sign-up sheet in case anyone who's here would like to get on our distribution list where we advertise fabulous events at the Evans Library. Excuse me. So please sign up and we'll add you to that list. Also, I want to say that on the way by, you may wish to pick up some more refreshments. We can certainly take those up to the Edwin A. Link Multimedia Room. And so take your time, take a look at the exhibit and grab some food and look at the star by the service desk that tells you about the link. But let's meet fairly quickly on the second floor of the Evans Library in the Link Multimedia Room, and we'll look at we'll talk to Dr. Clark, and we'll look at some of the media. Thank you.